Welcome to my channel. My name is Adrian King, 23, software support technician. The guy people call when their password doesn't work, when their screen freezes, or when they accidentally download a virus watching things they shouldn't. My world is logical, structured, predictable. That's how I like it. Control. Order. Silence. But inside that silence lives a storm. And that storm started long before Isabella entered my life. Growing up, my mother always said I was too soft, not like other boys. I preferred sketching dresses in the margins of my notebooks instead of drawing motorcycles and guns. I liked the colors of life more than the noise of it. She thought it was a phase. I pretended it was. But some phases carve deep roots. The first time I ever touched a dress was on accident, or maybe fate. I was 16, alone at home, looking for a charger in my cousin's suitcase when my hand brushed against soft pink silk. A sundress, floral, lightweight, dreamy. I don't know why, but I pressed the fabric against my chest and the world shifted. Something inside me whispered, "This feels like me. This feels right." But I never wore it, not fully. I never had the courage. Society teaches boys that curiosity is a crime. So I folded the fabric back like a confession I never sent. Years passed. I kept the storm caged. Until Isabella. We met 2 years ago. She walked into the tech store needing a keyboard, walked out with my number. Isabella Torres. Vibrant, unpredictable, mischievous smile like she knew the answers to questions you haven't even asked yet. She was the opposite of me in every possible way, loud where I was quiet, bold where I was hesitant, daring where I was cautious. Her presence was like being pulled by the tide, terrifying but thrilling. She loved fashion, runway passion fashion. Her closet looked like it belonged to a movie star, dresses shaded in rose, gold, midnight black, heels in organized rows, cosmetics in glowing containers that looked sacred. She could transform herself with a brush stroke and a shade of lipstick. Sometimes, I'd sit on the bed scrolling my phone, pretending not to watch her apply makeup, the slow stroke of eyeliner, the patting of foundation, the click of a lipstick lid. And every time I would look away, afraid she could read the truth in my eyes. Because the storm inside me wanted to try it. And that want, that hunger, terrified me. Isabella and I were close, physically, emotionally, but she always said I held something back. "You hide from yourself," she'd say, tapping my chest like knocking on a locked door. She wasn't wrong. Our apartment was small but warm, a soft gray couch, photos on the wall of us traveling, laughing, pretending life made total sense. A balcony overlooking a quiet street. The smell of coffee always lingering in the air because Isabella couldn't start her day without it. That apartment was home, but also a vault where I hid every part of myself. Until the challenge happened. It started as a joke, or at least it looked like one. One evening, Isabella leaned against the kitchen counter, swirling juice in her glass, her eyes narrowed like she was studying me. "You ever wonder," she asked casually, "how you'd look as a girl?" The glass almost slipped from my hand. My heart sprinted without warning. I forced a laugh, weak, shaky. "What kind of question is that?" "I'm serious," she smirked. "Like, pretty, soft, delicate. I kinda think you could pull it off." She shrugged. "Your face is already halfway there." She said it like a compliment. I heard it like lightning hitting dry ground. "Well," I managed, "I don't think about that kind of thing." Lie. Lie so loud I could taste it. Isabella leaned closer, her voice lower, teasing. "You sure?" I nodded too fast. "Okay," she said simply, and dropped it. But she didn't drop it. Not really. Hints started appearing, subtle like falling leaves. A magazine left open on the bed, makeup tips for beginners. A pair of silky stockings accidentally left on my chair. Her heels placed in front of the mirror, facing the bed as if waiting for someone who wasn't her. She watched my reactions like tests. Then came the call. One Friday morning, Isabella packed for a week-long work retreat, a luxury corporate getaway in another city. She kissed me goodbye at the doorway. "Don't miss me too much," she said with a wink. She left. The apartment felt emptier than it ever had, silent, waiting. I made coffee, sat at my desk, tried to drown myself in code, logic, system updates, anything predictable. But the closet kept whispering from the bedroom. It felt alive. Calling. By evening, the sun dipped behind the buildings, painting the room in soft orange shades, the same shade as the silk dress I had once touched at 16. I stood in the doorway of the bedroom staring at her wardrobe. My pulse drummed in my throat. Nobody was home. Nobody would know. Nobody would ever see. 1 week alone. My breath trembled. This was the first moment, the moment before a bridge you know you shouldn't cross, but the other side looks like sunlight. I opened the closet door. Slowly. The smell of her perfume escaped, warm, floral, intoxicating. I dragged my fingers across the fabrics, each texture a different language. Velvet confidence, silk temptation, cotton innocence. And then, I saw it. A note. A small white card taped inside. Written in Isabella's handwriting. For when you stop lying to yourself. Try it. Just once. My knees weakened. She knew. She always knew. And this wasn't a joke. This wasn't coincidence. This was a challenge. A challenge that would force me to confront the one truth I never said aloud. Something inside me wanted to be feminine, not as a fantasy, not as a costume, but as a part of me I never allowed to live. I sat on the bed staring at the dresses, stockings, heels, makeup lined neatly like soldiers ready for duty. A battlefield of identity. For the first time in my life, I wasn't running from the storm. I was walking toward it. Because maybe, just maybe, the storm was the real me. And that 1 week alone would change everything. Not just how I looked, but who I was allowed to become. I stared at the note as if the letters could burn. For when you stop lying to yourself. My fingers trembled as I held it. Delicate handwriting, delicate message, devastating truth. The room felt smaller, like walls were leaning closer, listening to the confession I hadn't made. The first outfit that drew my eye was a pastel pink knee-length satin dress, soft like breath, shimmering when the bedroom light kissed it. It wasn't bold or dramatic. It was gentle, careful. It spoke my language. I lifted it from the hanger. It slid across my skin like water. For a moment I simply held it against myself and my heart responded faster than fear could silence it. Something in me broke, but in a way that felt like being set free. I slipped out of my clothes slowly, scared that the air itself was judging me. The satin brushed my chest, slid down my torso, and settled on my skin as if it belonged there. It hugged me, not tight, not loose, with a precision that felt intentional. As though it was made for me. My breath shook. This was wrong. This was perfect. I walked to the bedroom mirror, barefoot, nervous, hesitant. And then I saw myself. Not a joke. Not a fantasy. Not a costume. A softer version of me, a version I knew existed but never gave permission to live. A lump formed in my throat. I should hate this. I should stop. I should take it off. Instead, I smiled. A small, frightened smile, but real. My hands shook when I opened Isabella's makeup drawer. Foundations, brushes, lipsticks organized like weapons for identity. I didn't know what half of them did, but curiosity beat logic. There was a note inside too. Start easy, BB cream, mascara, gloss, smiley face. Tip, less is more. Of course she left instructions. This wasn't accidental. This was designed. I applied BB cream the way I'd seen her do it, dabbed, blended, not perfect but enough to soften edges. I tried mascara, blinking awkwardly, smudging once, fixing it. Then lip gloss, clear, shiny, subtle. I leaned back and stared. That wasn't the boy who fixed computers. That wasn't the quiet man who feared his reflection. That was someone, in between. Someone becoming. I didn't know whether to laugh or cry, so I did both. A quiet, breathless laugh that escaped with tears I didn't know I'd been holding for years. For the first time in my life, the reflection didn't feel like a stranger. It felt like truth. The heels weren't part of the plan, I wasn't ready, but they called to me from the corner like forbidden fruit on a high branch. Nude, glossy, slender. 4 inches. Danger embodied in elegance. I picked them up. The heel felt like it could decide fate. I placed one on the floor, slid my foot inside, then the other. Standing was a war. Walking was a surrender. 1 step, wobble. 2 steps, breath held. 3 steps, a rhythm formed. It hurt, but it felt earned. Each step was a beat of rebellion, against the rules the world handed me before I ever asked for them. I walked across the living room, hand brushing the wall, balancing. My heart beat louder than my footsteps. I stared out the balcony window, city lights blinking, car horns distant. Thousands of people out there living lives scripted for them. I was rewriting mine, barefoot in my soul, high-heeled in reality. The doorbell rang. The sound blasted through the apartment like a gunshot. I froze. Panic grabbed my throat. Who? Why? Now? I stood silently, heels planted, breath locked in my lungs. Maybe they'd go away. Maybe it was a package. Maybe. The doorbell rang again, longer. Followed by, "Hello? Adrian? It's Mark. You home?" My neighbor. Loud. Friendly. The kind that never stops talking once he starts. No. Not now. Any time but now. I silently backed away, every heel step like thunder in my ears. He knocked, harder. "I saw your lights on, thought I'd borrow your drill if you're around." "Please stop. Please go." Silence. Then footsteps fading. I exhaled so hard the room spun. That was my first real taste of danger, and it thrilled me. But danger leaves echoes. Fear and adrenaline don't drain quickly. I sat on the couch, dress smooth against my legs, heart refusing to slow. That's when my phone buzzed. A notification. From Isabella. A picture. A selfie of her at the airport, smiling brightly. "Isabella, hope you're enjoying your week. Do something different." Different. She knew exactly what she meant. She wanted me to cross that line further. I stood again, this time without hesitation. I went back to her vanity, the lights glowing like a stage turning on. Eyeshadow next. Blush. Earrings clipped, cold against my skin. A brush through a synthetic brunette wig I remembered seeing sealed in a box she never explained. When the wig settled over my head, framing my face, the transformation wasn't playful anymore. It was real. I wasn't wearing femininity. Femininity was wearing me. Something was missing. Not eyeliner. Not polish. A name. A reflection is incomplete without identification. I looked in the mirror, dressed, painted, styled. "Who are you?" I whispered. And the name came instantly, like it had waited patiently for years. Aria. Soft. Musical. Beautiful. Mine. Aria looked back at me in the mirror, scared but proud. I whispered it again, stronger. "I'm Aria." My voice cracked, not from fear. From honesty. For the first time ever, I wasn't pretending. I wasn't hiding. I wasn't imagining. I was becoming. Hours passed. I took pictures, not naughty, not comedic, just proof that Aria existed. Proof she deserved to be real. I almost deleted them. But I didn't. I hid them in a folder, labeled harmlessly as invoices. But keeping them meant danger. Keeping them meant desire. Night crawled in. I made tea, still in the dress, still in the heels, like walking inside someone else's life. I thought that was it, the peak of the night. But then, my phone buzzed again. A video call. Isabella. My blood turned to lightning. The phone lit up. Her name shining. Calling. 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 And she never called late, not unless she wanted something. Should I answer? In the dress? In the makeup? In the wig? Time slowed, every second loud. The screen kept glowing. Accept, decline. Aria wanted one choice. Adrian wanted the other. And I pressed. My thumb hovered in the space between fear and truth, and landed firmly on the screen. Accept. The call connected. Black screen for a second. Then Isabella's face appeared, framed by airport fluorescent light, hair slightly messy, the kind of tired beauty that didn't need makeup. She smiled first. Then her smile slowly faded, replaced by stillness, the kind that makes silence louder than screaming. Her eyes narrowed, not in anger, but in calculation. "Wow," she finally whispered. That was all. Just wow. Her tone wasn't mocking, wasn't disappointed, wasn't shocked. It was observational, like she was studying a priceless piece of art she didn't remember buying. I froze, unmoving, unblinking, like the slightest breath might shatter the moment. Her lips curved, small, dangerous, intrigued. "So," she said softly, "you opened the box." I tried to speak, but air refused to cooperate. Words hid behind glossed lips. She tilted her head. "Turn the phone around," she said gently, like she was asking for a glass of water, not a confession. My pulse trembled. "What?" "Don't act shy, Adrian," she said, command inside softness. "I want to see all of you." A request wrapped as a choice, but not truly a choice. I slowly shifted the camera, down the smooth satin fabric, past the waist and hips, to the heels standing brave despite the trembling legs inside them. Her reaction wasn't laughter. She inhaled, long and slow. "You kept the heels on." It wasn't a question. It sounded like approval, disguised as observation. Then she leaned closer to her camera, her voice a velvet thread. "Walk." My eyes widened. "What?" "You heard me," she said, not harsh, but immovable. "To the mirror and back. I want to see you move." Heat exploded under my skin. Fear, humiliation, excitement tangled together. But my body obeyed before my logic protested. The heels clacked softly on the floor, not loud, but loud enough to betray every ounce of vulnerability. I walked, showing her the side profile, the sway I didn't know I had, then turned and walked back. She exhaled, not dramatically, but meaningfully. "You've been practicing," she said. "No, I." She raised one finger, the way she always did when she wanted silence. And even through a screen, obedience came naturally. "I knew it," she whispered with a soft smile. "You're not confused." I swallowed. "What are you talking about?" "You like the way it feels," she said. "Not just the clothes, but the version of you that comes with them." My heart beat faster. Like she peeled the secret with surgical accuracy. "And," she added, "I think you like that I'm watching." My breath caught, because she wasn't wrong. Not even a little. She leaned back in her airport seat. "I'm gone for a week," she said. "And I could spend that time wondering if you'll hide this again." Silence stretched. "Or we could turn this into something neither of us forgets." My chest tightened. "What does that mean?" Her smile sharpened, curious, playful, dangerously confident. "It means Aria." The name struck me like lightning. She said it without hesitation, and she said it right. "If you're going to explore this, you're going to do it properly." I felt the world tilt. "Aria." She called me Aria. "Here are the rules," she continued calmly. "Rule 1, every day for the next 7 days, you become the perfect daughter." Daughter. "Aria," she corrected. "Not a costume. Not a joke. You wake up as Aria. You go to sleep as Aria. Clothes, hair, skincare, everything." "This is crazy," I breathed. "No," she replied gently. "What was crazy was pretending this wasn't a part of you." She wasn't teasing. She was diagnosing. "And rule 2, she added. God, there was a rule 2. You will send me one picture every day, morning and night, dressed as Aria." My pulse hammered. "And if I don't?" I asked. Her smile faded. Her gaze sharpened. "Then I'll come home early," she said, "and we'll have a very different conversation." Not threat. Promise. "And rule 3, she finished softly, too softly. You don't tell anyone, but you don't hide from mirrors. You face her." Her. Aria. Me. She checked the airport screen beside her. "They're boarding. I'll message you soon. Isabella, wait." She held up 2 fingers, peace sign, but in her eyes it looked more like a leash. "I'm excited," she whispered. "Don't disappoint me." The call ended. The silence afterward was deafening. A challenge. A test. A week. 7 days as Arya. 7 days to face the truth, or run from it. The apartment felt colder. The dress felt heavier. The heels felt higher. But the name? The name felt right. The screen lit again. A message. One photo attachment icon. My blood chilled. It was a picture of Isabella, holding up my male clothes, the ones from the wardrobe. Caption. These are staying with me for now. Enjoy your week, daughter. The sixth sunset of the challenge bled crimson through the apartment blinds, a violent orange glow that made everything feel dramatic, theatrical, staged. Staged. The word sat in my skull like a stone. Because by evening of day 6, something wasn't adding up. The rules. The confidence. The flawless timing. The way she always replied just when panic peaked, but never earlier or later. Isabella didn't seem like someone reacting. She seemed like someone directing. At first, I wrote it off as paranoia mixed with mascara fumes. But then 2 things happened. First, the morning message came exactly at 8 a.m., not 7:59, not 8:02. Second, the Uber receipt in her email, yes, I snooped, guilt and curiosity share the same heartbeat, was not to Italy. It was to a nearby city, only 3 hours away. Why lie? Why the box? Why the rules? Why the name Arya so quickly, like she practiced it? Why did she sound prepared? The 6th night felt wrong. Or right. Or inevitable. The line between fear and destiny blurred with every nervous click of my heels across the floor. My hair, curled, pinned, sprayed. My dress, flowing lavender chiffon. My makeup, softer tonight, like I was learning something I never agreed to learn. But agreed anyway. The mirror didn't show a man pretending. For the first time, it showed someone who had stopped pretending altogether. This wasn't dress up. This was identity, raw and unfiltered. The phone buzzed. I froze. Only one word appeared. Night photo. I lifted my phone, but instead of posing, smiling, curving the hips like she trained me, I typed, "Where are you really?" Delivered. Seen. 3 dots appeared. Disappeared. Appeared again. Then the reply. Turn around. My blood iced. The apartment was silent. Too silent. A floorboard creaked behind me, slow, deliberate. Not the house settling. Not imagination. Footsteps. My lungs forgot how to function. Panic and anticipation crashed like thunder. And yet, I turned. The front door, locked earlier, was now open just 2 inches. A sliver of darkness. A shadow behind it. A figure outside. My heartbeat tried to break my ribs open. The door pushed wider. A suitcase slid in. Then a wrist. A sleeve. A silhouette. And finally, the woman who orchestrated the entire week, walked inside. Isabella. Shoulder-length hair, travel coat loose, eyes calm in a way no surprise visitors should be. She closed the door behind her without breaking eye contact. Hello, Arya. She didn't say Adrian. Not once. Not even for a second. I took 1 step back, instinctive, prey retreating. She took 1 step forward, patient, a hunter but not cruel. You weren't supposed to be home until tomorrow, I whispered. I know, she said softly. Silence stretched, thick enough to choke on. You planned this, I said. I did, she answered, unapologetic. You think I didn't notice the way you looked at your reflection when we passed dress shops? The way your voice softened when you thought no one listened? The way you touched fabrics longer than people do when they're just curious? Her tone didn't accuse. It understood. And that was more terrifying. So you tricked me. No, she corrected quietly. I allowed you. My jaw clenched. Allowed me what? To stop hiding from yourself. I wanted to shout. I wanted to deny. I wanted to tear off the dress and prove her wrong. But my fingers didn't reach for the zipper. She noticed. Of course she noticed. You're angry, she said softly. And that's fair. But you're not angry because I made you do this. She took another step closer, voice dropping to a whisper. You're angry because I was right. My throat tightened. Isabella. Say the name, she said gently. Aria. I tried. No, she replied. Say your name. Time fractured. Identity shook. The mirror behind me reflected lavender. Gloss. Curls. Hesitation. The truth wasn't knocking. It had already let itself in. I swallowed once, twice, voice trembling but real. My name is. My lips trembled. Aria. A smile touched her lips, but not victory. Recognition. I know. The moment hung in the air, delicate and dangerous. Then, a loud knock exploded against the door. We both jolted. Not a gentle knock. Not a neighbor's courtesy knock. A heavy, urgent, demanding knock. Isabella's eyes widened, not playfully, not theatrically. This one she did not plan. Are you expecting someone? She whispered. I shook my head, terrified. The knock came again, harder. Followed by a voice. A familiar voice. One that froze every perfect inch of Aria. Adrian? It's your MOM, open up. The elevator stopped. My breath stopped with it. I could hear footsteps outside the metal doors, slow, confident, coming closer as if they already knew who was inside. I pressed myself against the wall, heels trembling, lipstick smeared from the panic, my fake eyelashes barely hanging. The perfume Isabella made me wear was too strong, or maybe that was just the fear burning in my lungs. Ding! The elevator door slid open. A silhouette stepped in, but the lights were behind them, drowning the face in shadows. But the voice carved into my bones like a name I was never supposed to hear again. Well, that voice smirked. So this is what you've become. My knees almost gave out. The world blurred. My heart hammered against my padded chest. How did you? I choked. They stepped closer. I could finally see enough. It wasn't the manager. It wasn't a stranger. It wasn't an accident. It was someone who should never have been here. Someone who knew me better than she should. Someone who held the power to burn everything to ashes. Their eyes dragged up and down my dressed-up body, the heels, the wig, the tight dress hugging curves that weren't mine, yet somehow were. Oh, Aria. They whispered my new name like poison and silk. Does Isabella know that you're not playing a game anymore? My lips parted, but no sound escaped. Because in their hand was a phone. Recording. Light blinking red. They leaned in close, lips brushing my ear, whispering the 7 words that detonated the entire reality I thought I controlled. I know the real reason she chose you. The elevator doors began to close. I grabbed their wrist. Wait, what do you mean? And with a wicked smile. Ask Isabella about the other girl. The doors slammed shut. Darkness swallowed me. And for the first time, I wasn't afraid of being caught as Aria. I was afraid that becoming Aria was always the plan. Not mine. Not the challenge. Not the accident. It was someone else's plan all along. Maybe Isabella's. Maybe theirs. Maybe both. But the question carved itself into my mind like a scream with no sound. If Aria wasn't the punishment, was she the replacement?